kind of a more than just like sales, even though that's what I'm doing. So kind of have a dual role.
Dude, player housing, bro, that is so overlooked.
Dude.
It's so overlooked. And I feel like if organizations would have put more like thought or effort into player housing, people would be set up like somewhat decent all the time. But it's just like, hey, you have 3 days, figure it out.
Yep. And yeah, and be ready to go.
Be
And that's
ready to go.
so the thing that I've done is I put the guys at the best place we can possibly stay in Charleston. It's all new ownership. So I got us staying at the 4.7 star out of 5, the best place in Charleston. Really nice place. I'm and then I'm painting from the perspective of, all right, the opposing team comes in, let's try to make it as if they walk into the stadium, what they're going to see, let's make sure everything is pristine as possible because that reputation is so big for the players, the managers. They're going to tell their families, they're going to tell the fans
No.
of the reputation of that field. So that has to be as good as possible. And they're just looking at it from let's paint the outside for the fans, let's do this. But if you go into the stadiums and it's a shithole when you walk in, then it's man, you're automatically like, oh, this place is a dump. You know, you're
Yeah, dude.
texting your girl, texting your family, telling them like, man, back in Charleston again. And so trying to, it's nice that they're listening with new ownership. So it's been
That's
good.
good.
Yeah, where are you? You're in Vancouver?
I'm in Vancouver. I'm in Vancouver. So I've been here since I got back from the season with the dogs. Since September, we just been doing our thing, training the kids, training myself, and just spending some time with family, bro. Just living the COVID life, right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I had some time to listen to some of your other podcasts. They're pretty good. You had a couple ones that are couple of people asked some good questions and some are not. So
Yeah.
some other questions. But you always do good interviews. So it's good to
Yeah,
see you
man.
always
Yeah.
give good answers too.
Yeah. Try to at least.
Yeah. So you have a Chicago phone number. You have a Forest Park. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So when I went down there, I didn't have a number because when I went to Australia, I didn't put my phone plan on pause.
Okay.
So my phone number got put back into the system. So I came home and I was home for like, I don't know, 3 months. And I'm like, I'm not gonna get a Canadian number because our Canadian numbers up here, we don't get North American service. Like it's like soon as you leave BC, you're dialing long distance. And it's like $80 a month. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait till I got to the States. First place I landed in the States was Chicago. So I'm just like, all right, I'll just roll with it.
Yeah. And now you're going back for year 2 in Chicago.
You
That's a
too.
sweet ballpark. I was living in Oak Park, which is just 20 minutes away from there, and right on the highway past that field every day.
Yeah, yeah.
What? How does that park play? Is it a hitter's ballpark or pitcher's
It's
ballpark?
definitely a hitter's ballpark for sure. But like not like, I mean, you were in Australia.
Yeah.
It's not Brisbane. It's not Lancaster to right field. It's not Southern Maryland to left field. Like you still got to get it a little bit, but if you get it up in the air with some backspin, like it's gonna go more so than other ballparks. Yeah.
Do any of the balls go on the highway?
No, no. They got this big net, what you would envision like on a driving range on the
Yeah.
sides and on the back. They got that big net that's kind of protecting it.
Okay.
If you were to get it on the highway, dude, that's probably one of the longest home runs in life.
Yeah, man. The name. Well, I know Butch Hobson, right? The manager, and always man, the name Victor Roach. I played against him in college, and yeah, he led the NCAA in home runs, and yeah, that was
Oh,
always a big name.
yeah, he's a
Yeah,
stud. He hung him up though. He retired.
I couldn't believe it. You had one bad season. Baseball will do that, man. You have one bad season, you don't want to play again. He had so many good years. His what he played in Chicago in 18, and he had
20.
what like 20 some home runs.
Yeah, him and Keon went off.
Yeah,
Him and Keon went
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah. We've kind of played in a lot of the same places. I didn't know you played in Nicaragua as well.
Nicaragua, was that in 16 or 17? Yeah.
Yeah,
Think it was 16. Yeah. I played for Grenada. Yeah, it was dope,
okay.
man. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I love the Latin culture and yeah,
Bro.
that baseball is one of the things you said in one of your interviews that was great is just the way that they're comfortable playing the game when you
Mhm.
see them playing and you think, man, why don't you guys play like that in the States? And then you realize like, hey, you play 140 boring games in the minor leagues and then you come
Yeah.
home to this. I can understand maybe why
Yeah.
you guys aren't really pumped to go play on a Tuesday in Lansing,
I
Michigan,
know, right?
with 500 people in the stands.
Well, isn't it crazy? Some of the players, you're like, bro, I just played with you for 120. Like, where was this? It's
Yeah.
insane, man. But like even playing in Mexico for those 2 years, I was like, oh, this is amazing. And granted, before Mexico, I played in Venezuela and Nicaragua and Dominican, but like fully living and knowing that my full summer season was in Mexico, I was like, this is amazing. Like as soon as you wake up, it's like energy, like it's just pouring through you, through your
Yep.
veins. It's the field and the fans and whistles, and everyone's already 10 Tecates deep. It's amazing,
Hell
man.
yeah. Hell yeah. I love it. Well, I wanted to talk to you about a few of the rules for the Atlantic League that you experienced in 2019.
Yeah.
Um, I'm doing a little videos for the fans. They were in the South Atlantic League before for the Charleston Power. Sorry, the West Virginia Power, and now they're going to the Atlantic League. So they're going to see a lot of different things on the field. Maybe some subtle changes, a few bigger changes. Um, let's start with before I ask you about specific rules. Did anything stand out to you that changed the game about the
Yeah.
rule changes?
Um, so one, you can run on a pass ball on any count. So it's just not the drop third strike where you can take off, right? If there's a pass ball and it's like you can take the base. Now, granted, the league and the players decided, okay, collectively as a group that we're just not going to do that. It's kind of bush to do that.
Huh,
But that's a
huh.
that's a rule that can truly change the game. Think about it. If you're 3-3, bottom of the ninth, guy's been swinging at the first pitch all game. Pitcher, okay, shoot, I'm not gonna throw a heater down here. I'm gonna throw my slider, but it hasn't been throwing a slider too much, and bounces it. Now he's on, and I think
Yeah.
that's kind of it's stupid in a way, but it is what it is. So it could really affect the game later.
Big time. Yeah, and
Yeah.
just by you talking about that, I can think just when you as a pitcher when the pitcher has to hit somebody and you miss,
Hmm.
boom, that guy could
Hmm.
just take off to first base, and then man, you kind of just missed your opportunity there. He's on first base. It's like a wild pitch for you. That kind of backfired on you, man. That kind of
Right.
I'm thinking that's bad. And and I think the guys that kind of have the velo have the plus stuff and they are just kind of letting it eat on every pitch, that might not necessarily be a good thing if the guys take off. Interesting though that you say you guys kind of agreed not to do that because I thought, how in the world is the umpire going to be able to enforce if he is going to first base and when he does? And I read the rules and it's like if he makes an attempt, so it's like they're going to have a judgment call if he takes one step out of the box, then it's he is going to first base, but it was two. If both feet are out of the box and the umpire determines, then he's a live runner and not a batter anymore. Was that your
So
understanding?
yeah, so basically one of the guys got caught because he was like just joking around and he made that quick little
Uh huh.
step,
Uh
and that
huh.
was intent. It's the same thing. Like you run through first base, you can
And you're
cross over
turning.
that white line and walk back, but like it's all the as soon as I run through pass ball and I do that, right? Then it's an intent and I have to get back to the base. So it's kind of the same rule in the batter's box. As soon as you make that one sudden jerk,
Uh huh.
you have to go, or else that catcher can take you out, and then you're out, and then you're pissed and you're yelling at the umpires and and the world's against you.
Oh man, I don't want to be the ump. I don't want to have to deal with that or see the ump have to make judgment calls like that. Did that come into play at all? Did that or was that completely off? Everyone kind of agreed no, and that never happened, or did that happen later in the season?
I mean, Tony Thomas, he was the leader of this by taking the first one, and as you should be, like you should try to be the first person to try to do it. But after he kind of did that, it halted completely, and then I think it picked back up later in games, like throughout the end of the season for playoff pushes in like the eighth
Mhm.
or ninth inning. Then guys would think about doing it. But even like regular season, middle of the year, that would happen and be the eighth inning. It's like, no, I'm not going to win the game like this. I'm going to win the game because I drew a walk or I got you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a really interesting rule, and
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. We're going to deal with that again this year. Maybe people will try to expose that rule a little bit more to start the
Yeah.
year, and
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I want to talk about three different ones that I'm specializing in this video this time around. There are no mound visits. Was that a thing? So no mound visits unless they're coming out of the game.
Right. Yeah.
So that
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 was the thing.
yeah, that was a good one.
Um, See, I don't mind that. Now, was a catcher can visit it, or there's nothing at all.
They say nothing at all,
Okay,
but
so yeah,
well,
go ahead.
unless it's crossed up signs, but sometimes the players can
Right,
say it's
right, right.
crossed up, but it's not really, just trying to give them a break.
Yeah, so the only time there can be a visit was with a cross up or something to do with the signs.
Yeah.
I don't like the rule. I can see maybe the manager, but I would love for communication to stay in the game somewhat with the battery at least. At
Hmm.
least allow the catcher to come out and calm his guy down because I don't know. I think it's an important part of the game, especially like for young kids. They see someone struggling on the mound, and then you do see that pitcher that mound visit, and then you see how a pitcher can collect his nerves again and get right back into it. I think that's
Yeah.
important for our young ball players to see. And I know they're trying to speed up time, but they're taking away like a big part of the game and communication and settling nerves and understanding that a small little talk can like really settle you back in.
I can't imagine that being taken away at the high school level, at the college level. That would really be detrimental. Like I would imagine to the development of people in those big time pressured moments. And that's when you make or break somebody. That's if you're going to get better or not. They need to be tested in those late innings. And that one conversation, I've got a dozen in my mind from pitching coaches that really
Mhm.
changed kind of my perspective and locked me back in. So yeah, that would be tough to see that fully integrated throughout baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I do like it because sometimes I feel the managers manipulate that and will go have a mound. They don't have anybody warmed up in the bullpen, so then the pitching coach takes that real slow, long walk,
Mhm.
takes a minute and a half, and then he comes back. Then the manager takes the slow walk, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's only been one pitch. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, and you know what? They're smart people. They've sat around and they've dissected thousands of scenarios and how managers do that. And even being in the outfield, like I hate that too. And I'm like, okay, I can already see what's happening. This is a
yeah,
wasted 10 minutes. And I'm like, we should have got the pitcher up earlier. That's
yep,
your fault, you
yep,
know. But
yep,
maybe they can meet somewhere in the middle. Maybe they
yep,
can meet somewhere in the middle where umpires can make a call on if they're doing that or not, or they can just keep it within the battery, maybe one visit.
yep,
Um,
yep.
but yeah, I don't mind the manager not coming out, but I do like some sort of communication because there's some stories 20 years later about, hey man, in the bottom of the ninth when the bases were loaded and there was 3-0, like what did he say to you? And it's just like I
Yeah,
can't,
yeah.
or it's like you have that memory for life. Now those like little small like memories that last in baseball are forever gone.
That's amazing. Derek Chung, the name
Oh
Derek
yeah,
Chung.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of my best times was in my mom's favorite story of me playing. I think I walked a guy, had an out or something in the ninth inning of a one-run game, and he comes out and he just says, "Hey, you see my wife in the stands tonight? Damn, she is looking great."
That's something you would
Walks
say
back
too.
and it was like, just just that lightens you right back up, and it's like, all right, and then boom, strikeout, game over, and yeah,
Yeah,
those type of fun memories down the line get taken away. So
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
good points, good points. All right, What about the bigger bases? They moved from the 15-inch squared bases to 18-inch squared bases.
Yeah.
Was that did you feel an impact? Could you tell the difference?
Okay, so for the bigger bases, just mute this thing. For the bigger the bases, I noticed I like it in terms of safety because it allows the first baseman to navigate that bag a little bit better, a little bit easier. It allows the runner to have a little bit more room to strike the base. I don't think at a professional level, knowing how to run the bases, you really don't see too many of those injuries happen. I mean, it's a 1% where that runner will step on the first base, but it does clear up some more room for the runner to clear, for sliding, for the second baseman to navigate around the base in a double play. What it does hinder is it takes away a little bit of the base path. So every time I get thrown out by this much, I'm now safe. So it does change. It does change time. It does change the pitchers having to go quicker to the plate and all that dynamic.
Yes, big time.
So as a base, it's really going to help the health of the baseball players, being able to navigate a bigger base and having the runner being able to have a clear spot to hit now. But it's also going to really give advantages to base stealers, just because they are now taking away that much more that they need to travel.
Which is everything in this game.
Which is everything. I mean, it doesn't seem like much, right? But like it's a lot. A lot of the times I get thrown out, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's bang bang. So if I can get that, shoot, I'll take it.
Big time. Yeah. So the bang bangs seem like they're going to go to the base runners. More action in the game, more safe plays. Yeah, that should be it. I think the objective and keeping people safe is what they're trying to achieve there. Seems like that might work. And then when it comes to stealing bases, pickoffs as well were slightly different. I think it was only implemented in the second half where lefties couldn't do that read play at first base. Righties couldn't, or anybody couldn't inside move. You have to fully disengage from the rubber, step back completely behind is what it says, even though I'm not sure how strict they're going to be with enforcing that. A lot of guys just do that little spin. I'm not sure how much that was enforced because it says completely behind in the rule book, but baseball sometimes doesn't really implement the rules like with Stickum and other rules like that. But yeah, was that a big deal? I would imagine with the lefties reading, that had to be a big one.
I mean, it's huge. It's huge because we're taught to go on first move, and a lot of lefties don't really have a snap throw. There's a few lefties that have a snap throw.
A little step off.
Yeah, a little step off the rubber and throw it to first base. So like in the scouting report, you understand those guys. But even those guys, they are going to lift that leg up pretty big and they're going to go to the plate and they're either going to lift up and read and come over. So they take away the read, which is a big pickoff play for lefties. So it hinders their ability to really hold on runners a lot. Like everything they've been taught was that. But on that note, at first base, what I did start to realize is that a lot of lefties were starting to work on that snap throw, something that they've never really implemented into their pickoff move before. And they started working on more of a sidestep, which lefties really, really don't have too often. So they adapted throughout the season in a way that I didn't really think that they would adapt so quickly. I don't like the rule. I like that the lefty is able to have a read play.
Yeah, you're a big base stealer.
Huh?
You're a big base stealer. That's kind of you were known for that in your career, and you still are. Yeah, that's
So from a base stealer's point of view, if you take away the read, the base runner has the advantage by a lot. Like he's getting a big advantage on lefties.
Yeah, they saw 82% successful stolen base rate in the second half, as opposed to like 74% in the first half of that season. That's really high. Even I mean, those are That percentage is, and more times that they went from 1.02 stolen bases per game to like 1.82 attempts per game. So, yeah, that's becoming a lot bigger part of the game.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then the same thing goes for when you're at second base. Um, One of the hardest pickoffs is the spin move and timing it up and throwing it to the guy. There's very few pitchers that are super comfortable doing it, and even if they do it, they're only going to do it for show one time or two times throughout the game, and they're going to do it so they can keep the will play in effect when a bunt situation comes in. It's more of a setup than an actual pickoff play. The one that kills us as Steelers is that inside move, because they don't have to throw it to second after they do the inside move. They can inside move and then run straight at the runner, and you're kind of caught. Majority of my caught stealings to third base aren't necessarily from the catcher throwing me out, aren't necessarily from the spin move. They're from the inside moves where I just picked the wrong time, or I don't know, they just caught a tell and they get me. So for them not being able to do the inside move, that's another big bonus for the base runner.
Wow. Yeah, man. Listening to you hear that, that's now I've got a slide step going home with guys on second, right? So it's yeah, it's a big change. There's a lot of these little technical things, and while I make the videos, it's nice for me to, I'm starting to think ahead. It's like, wow, I've got to really kind of make these adjustments before the game start, because these little small changes make a big impact in the game and how they're going to be played.
Absolutely, man. Big
Yeah.
time.
But I got to get to the biggest one. I feel like, and I feel the fans are going to feel like, is the automatic strike zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be, for me. I love it. I wish I can. The only thing that I wish is that I can practice with it and have it always, so I know exactly what it is. Because, like that, you said Tony Thompson was the first one to kind of do that, running to first base. I want to be somebody that can just exploit that system. And if I can practice with that nonstop and know how to just nick corners on a certain sidearm slider up and away to a righty, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to just learn how to do that. But if it's only, and I'm not sure if we're going to have the capability to practice that from the pitcher's side, which I hope we will. I I've seen some of the videos of the catchers catching horrible pitches that the umpire calls strikes from the 2019 season. What was your experience? You get any of those horrible calls called on you?
Yeah. So if you have that big loopy curveball, right, it has the chance to nick that bottom of the zone. And there was a lot of times where those type of pitchers were allowing their catcher to block the ball, and they were getting that strike because that ball was nicking the front of the zone. Every day the strike zone it was differently calibrated. So yeah, so one day the zone, you have your crew, right? And okay, this guy doesn't give in. This guy gives up. Okay, you really have to protect on this guy. So it takes away that part of the game. And now you're dealing with a strike zone where you really don't know what's going on. And even when you get through that first 3 innings, the first third of the game, and you're like, okay, I understand the strike zone, I understand what everyone's trying to do, it might shift again. It might go again. So you're really in the unknown for a lot of it. What I did notice though, when it was on, it was like the sides in and out, it was on. Like you can see that cutter coming outside corner and tail off by that much, ball, and it was on. But what it doesn't account for, man, is those benders, the sliders, the curveballs. It's terrible with them because it doesn't. It might cross at the front of the plate, but it's not a strike. So I don't. Maybe we have to move the strike zone back a little bit so it's in the middle of the plate instead of in the front of the plate, so those curveballs aren't clipping.
Right.
It's very hard because the definition of the strike zone is at the front of the plate, but then when you put an automatic strike zone in there, it changes the whole definition because it's not. We find out real quick that it's not. I think it's a cool thing to try out. I just think the big league umpires are so good. And yes, of course, they're going to miss calls, but it allows some sort of pattern or understanding of how this game is going to be ran today without having like a total unknown of the automatic strike zone.
Yeah. Oh, that was awesome. That was well said. Yeah, I've always wondered about the depth of it, right? So it does go off of the front of the strike zone, because I always thought about throwing that slider and trying to, if I'm throwing inside to a right hander, try to hit that back corner of the plate, bottom back corner, and then on like a up and away slider, just nick that front top part. But you're saying it's the automatic strike zone would usually always is calibrated to the point where it's reading it from the front, where it crosses the front of the plate.
Right. So it's
Okay.
going to be, the front of the plate. And what I realized halfway through is that everybody had the same height, pretty much. So it's just like,
well, you're six. What, you're 6'6"?
I'm 6'4".
6'4".
So I don't know what they did. So we didn't get really too much information told to us, I think, on purpose, because I mean they were trying to figure it out too. It was their first year doing it. But then it came out later that everyone had the same height. So I'm like, okay, that doesn't really play. And then I'm like, okay, that's interesting. If I'm a hitter and I struggle with the low ball, shoot, I'm just going to write down that I'm 6'6". You know what I mean? And now the strike zone should be calibrated to 6'6", or, hey, I struggle with the high ball. So how can I cheat the system? Okay, I'm going to put down that I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean?
Funny,
so now
man. Funny.
So it's like, you have to, I don't understand. I just don't understand how it will consistently work. I know technology will eventually catch up. I think it's great for fans that watch it on TV. I think it's amazing to see it, but it wasn't there in 2019. It wasn't there. And hopefully they've made some adjustments over the 2 years that they had with all the information, and it's a little bit cleaner, because it can be a good system. I just don't think it should ever be implemented in big league baseball.
Yeah, I'd love to see it if we could get graphs on it after you're at bat, so you could actually see that and be like, hey, here's on the iPad, here's where it crossed, here's why we said it was, and they gave you that feedback of a little more of the data. Maybe so the player could be in benefit, so that he's learning as well with it. But I feel there's a lot that's still missing from that. But yeah, just implementing it and kind of isn't always in the best benefit for the player in that situation.
No.
Yeah. So are there any rules for the American Association in 2020? And I know they're a partner league in now 2021. Are they implementing any rules for you guys?
Not that I've heard of so far. I feel like Butch Hobson would have said something to me by now. No, I think they're just sticking with the Atlantic League and then the minor league part of baseball, with the rules and gaining more information that way.
Yeah, I see that. Triple A is going to the bigger bases, high A is going to like the pickoff rules with only one pickoff rule. So they're trying to implement them slowly into the minor leagues as well. So, and I'm sure it'll continue to, be newer things and newer adjustments. And as long as we can continue to play, this will be year 13 for you?
Shoot, 2008, so 13, 14, yeah. Crazy, bro.
That's impressive. That's impressive. I'm getting into year 10, so I'm pumped about it.
You got 10 more to go to get that 20, man.
Hey, that's how I feel. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're getting old. This your last year." It's like, hell no, man. I'm gonna play as long. I've got buddies that are in Austria that are like 50 years old playing. So,
bro, I know my body, and obviously you could always still working, right? But I've known my body better from 27, now I'm 30, 27, 28, 29, 30, shoot, even 20, I think 25 is when I really started to tune in to my body. You're always working hard, but like tune in, like, okay, wake up. Okay, this is a little bit off. You start noticing that now. And I just feel like now my body feels amazing. and just, maintain that, keep it going, I could play, shoot, another 10 years for sure.
That's how I feel. You wake up, there's one thing that kind of doesn't feel right. Let's fix that in the morning. Let's get a good little pump. Do about
Yeah.
12 o'clock, you feel like you're 21 again. And it's like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm ready for the game. And yeah, as long as you can kind of be aware of your body, been doing it for so long. Yeah, tune in and make it's a machine, turn it into the best machine possible. And
No, absolutely, man.
and then it's
I
and then it's
agree.
just a mental game after that.
I agree. I definitely agree with that for sure.
So what kind of goals are you trying to get back to winter ball? Is that kind of a thought for you? You want to go, you've gone 3 times to Australia?
Four times,
Four
four
times
times
to
to Australia.
four
Yeah,
times to
I did
Australia.
Canberra in 2013. I did Melbourne in 2018, and then Canberra again in the 18-19 season, and then 18-19 season, and then I did Sydney in the 19/20 season.
You got to hit up Perth. What is Perth next winter? Right?
Shoot, New Zealand's next.
Yeah.
Path is next. Yeah, all those teams, man. But honestly, dude, you can't choose wrong. You
Yeah.
can't. There, I really don't think you can choose wrong in Australia in the ABL. Every city is so unique and it's so amazing and it presents so many pros. Like, I don't even know where the cons are. I would guess Canberra because it's so quiet and the beach is an hour away. But even Canberra is like an amazing little town. Like, that was my first ever experience was in Canberra, and I had the most amazing time ever. So I can never speak poorly on Canberra. I don't think you can choose wrong.
Yeah. Well, I hope that happens for you. I'm going to be looking forward to following you in the 2021 season. I love the dogs. The American Association's, a beast of a
Yeah.
league, and it's getting better. And
Very.
I hope you have the best year possible. And give me a little bit more information about what you're doing in Vancouver with is it Travail?
Travail. So this is
Yeah.
our logo right here.
Okay.
Travail, travail, it's a French word it means to work, hard labor. But right? You got to go through the work. You got to go through the absolute grind, the gutter to get to your goals, to go down to a path that you want to get to. It's going through 3 extendeds. It's doing the 0 for 16s in rookie ball and taking that hour and 15-minute bus ride back from Bradenton only on a 6-inch sub. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
It's going through your travails. It's about being a kid and understanding how to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get a workout in, and then going to school and then going to practice. Like those, if you are able to go through your travails in life, in sports, whatever you want to do, even if you don't get to your goal, you'll get put down a path that you'll never seen was there before.
I love it. Yeah. One of my January was respect the hours of the work. And then my February motto was respect the work. And if you don't respect it and actually do the work, you can't just hope for something. And I love the law of attraction, thinking positivity, all that. But man, it comes down to you don't need motivation. You need to actually just do the work. Is what it comes down to. You don't need people pumping you up. You don't need anything else. Actually, you just need to get to work, and you got to respect it and put the work in. And it's what it comes down to. There's those hours and hours of the 6-inch subs, the 0 for 20s, the not getting an out. Man, plenty of appearances where I didn't even get an out pitching and thought that I was never gonna, pitch again. But you live to fight another day. You don't let that happen again, and that's why you work harder the next time. So I love it.
Look at you traveling the world. You know what I mean? Going on year 10, just because you got through that, you pushed through that. So it's amazing, bro.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for talking to me about this, and best of luck. And I'm sure we'll be in touch and hopefully be teammates again here in the future.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll stay in touch and follow each other's careers. I got your number now, so we'll stay in touch. Thanks for having me on, bro.
Awesome. Good talking to you.
You too, man.
Later.